Word First Radio.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome to Word First Radio, the podcast brought to you by Word First Ministries. I'm your host, Jacob O'Neill, and as always, I'm joined by my friend Cameron.
What's up?
And Cameron, how was your week? Is that how we want to start this?
Yeah, I guess it's been a couple of weeks of lots of things. It's been a couple of weeks. I don't want to say chaos, but it's like lots of different disparate good and bad things all going on at once. It's been a lot.
Yeah, there's been a lot going on. So this episode is going to be kind of a ministry update, talking about what's been going on and just how we're doing, some of our plans for the nearish future and things like that. So might as well talk about the big one right out of the way. Our friend and partner in ministry and co-worker, Alan Jeffries, is back in the U.S.
He is back in the U.S., yeah. We're very disappointed about that.
Yeah, it's not a very happy thing at all. It's it's really disappointing, and it's not. We're not disappointed in him for being in the U.S. Basically,
We're not disappointed in you. We're just very angry with you.
That's right. That's the way.
We're not very angry with him.
No. We're not very angry at Alan. No. There were issues. We're not going to get into all the details. We're not going to explain what's going on.
The short story is, we had hoped Alan would be able to stay on the basis of continuing to be a student,
right?
And he just can't. And there's stuff it's not obvious. You have to dig for it, and they don't make it. The Norwegian immigration department doesn't make it super obvious. And so we found out bad news, and the bad news is Alan has no reason to be able to stay here. And Norway is not super interested in having people with no reason to be here, being here.
Yeah,
and so yeah, I think that's the short version of the long story. Is he's not allowed to remain in the country, so he had to head back home to the United States, and his future with the ministry in Norway remains to be seen. I can't imagine moving across the world and then moving across the world and then moving across the world again.
Right.
But we are doing our best to just trust that Alan is where God has him and that he'll follow the Lord where he leads, even though none of us really understands it at this point. Yeah.
It's been difficult for a lot of us. It's been hard on me in Motown and the rest of the ministry. I mean, Alan is a huge part of what was going on here. It's a huge part of our work and just a very valuable and talented team member to us.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's listening to this right now. Should I talk to him?
Yeah, I don't know. You could call him and talk.
I could just call him and talk to him. I don't have to talk to him via podcast.
Yeah. Well, and it's especially disappointing after we're sort of so reinvigorated after Skeptics Week in Bergen. And all right, great. We're going. The ministry is it's happening. I'm excited about it. I'm going to graduate, and then I'm going to go to school to study something I want to study. Something that he wants to continue to pursue, and it turned out that wasn't an option. So that's tough. It's tough. And then he was gone quick. Norway moved fast to make sure that he got out of the country quick, and so we really didn't have time, practically or emotionally, to prepare for that.
Yeah,
it's just sort of he's gone now. Now what? And we're in fact even still working on that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So definitely a big adjustment. It's not going to be the same. Alan's not exactly a guy who's easy to replace, or he is, like I was saying earlier, really talented in a lot of unique ways that we're not.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really difficult all around for professional, personal, and spiritual reasons. Yeah, just very difficult.
Our friend and brother who we see almost every day of our lives, and now sort of being confronted with a future that doesn't include him in it very much, probably. And the girls are all really sad because they're all really close with him, and wondering when's the next time I'm going to get to see Alan, and for any length of time. And it's especially hard because we were together all the time.
Right.
So that's hard. That's hard. And especially hard on the kids. So anyways, that's all the sad stuff. I don't mean to ask us to move on, but if you have any questions, you're welcome to call us and ask us. There are no secrets about anything, but I'm going to cease participating in the bummer.
Sure.
At this moment.
Okay.
And look forward to some. I've told you lots of things are happening in the last couple of weeks. Let's look forward to some of those good ones.
Yeah, let's look forward to some of those good ones. Okay, so we're coming up on pretty much the 3-year anniversary of us moving to Norway, which is pretty great. That's a pretty great milestone for us. I mean, that was kind of the initial plan in the beginning, not plan in the beginning, but the thing we usually started telling people was like, hey, we're going to be going out there for 3 years. We're studying for 3 years. Cameron Witt's term with the IMB, it's 3 years. 3 years kind of marks like a big milestone for us.
Yeah.
And doesn't it mark that we're leaving? Doesn't it?
Well, yeah. That's the thing. Yeah. So there was, I think, confusion about that, and it happened several times. But there are a bunch of parts of the first phase, if you want to call it that, or whatever. There's like a checkpoint in a video game. It's over there, and we could see that our checkpoint was over there 3 years away, and there's all of those things, all of those events that sort of coincide. You guys are finished with school. It's the term that we talked about with when you guys were raising financial support, our term with IMB, etc. And so people have been asking us now for 3 years, okay, and at the end, so you guys are coming home in 3 years? And we've been saying, I think since the first podcast,
right.
No, we live here now. There is this milestone, checkpoint, whatever, road marker, new chapter that's coming then. And now here we are. We're approaching it.
Yeah, it actually is I think it is on the first episode, actually. And a few episodes after that, I think we interviewed
We've talked
your dad.
about it a few times, yeah.
Right. Hear about it all the time. Actually, less so recently, because I was in the U.S. recently, and no one ever really asked me about that while I was there. And that's fine. That's good. Because the plan was never to just come out here for 3 years. Yeah. The plan was to come out here for as long as it takes, however long that is. We don't know what that is. Could have been 3 years.
It hasn't. It wasn't.
It wasn't. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
I'm talking like it's the first episode. It could be 3 years, so we'll see. Maybe we'll see you later. But nope, here we are 3 years later, and it turns out that's exactly was not the case. So with that, with that in mind, what are some things we can celebrate from this last month of May? And then looking forward to the future, what are some of the things that we can move on towards? Start with the first one.
Lots to celebrate, I think. So I think it begins with very high confidence that all of the rest of us will be able to stay in Norway. And it looks like my family, even on a permanent basis. So there's some paperwork to be done, and there are a number of administrative details and timelines that all have to interlock in a precise sort of way at just the right time. But it looks like they're going to, and we have high degree of confidence. Good reason to be confident that myself and Whitney and the girls will be able to stay as permanent residents in Norway, which is great. I mean, we're allowed to move away if we want to, but it means that we can stay in Norway and we don't have to apply for any more residence permits. We don't have to prove that we have jobs or apply for new work permits. If we get different jobs, we just get to be here and live here. So that's really that's a load off. That's that's a big thing, because like you said, our term with IMB comes to a close at the end of September, and then we have to apply for a new residence permit. We could find ourselves in the same situation as Alan, where there's no reason for us to stay, and then we'd have to get out of here in short order. And Alan definitely had his own life and stuff here, but we have more life and more stuff here. It would have been difficult to get back. So that's very good. And then you and Motown have graduated from college. You have bachelor's degree. As long as you didn't fail your thesis, you've turned your thesis your theses in. Yeah. And as long as you guys didn't fail those, and there's no reason to think you did. So I guess I'm just being I don't know, a little bit left-brained. But you guys have graduated. You'll have diplomas soon and bachelor's degrees. How does that feel for you? That's got to be exciting. I remember what it was like for me after sort of going back to school, and then I was graduating going, whoa. I remember what that experience was like for me. I don't want to project it onto you. What's that like for you guys?
It's interesting, which is not the word that most people will say. Most people are like, well, I'm stoked, or some people will say, thank God it's over. Yeah. I don't know if I feel, thank God it's over. I'm pretty happy about it. I mean, what's interesting is going to school, getting a degree was never anything that I planned on doing or pictured doing, especially because, where I come from in the U.S., I never really thought it was worth it or anything like that to do it. But turns out, when you're here as a student, and that's the only viable way you can get into the country, turns out doing it for the sake of the gospel. I found out that school was really fun at the same time when you're studying, all the things you like to talk about anyways with like your friends and strangers on the internet. So theology, for that is what I'm talking about. So I feel pretty great about it. I'm excited about it. I'm kind of ready to move forward. So kind of not one of the ways, but the way that it looks like me and Motown will be able to stay here is that I'm going to move on and do a master's degree in theology. So there's a seminary here in Oslo that offers a master's degree in English. Actually, there's only one that offers a master's in theology in English. And when you're applying for a renewal to your study permit to study in English or to study a master's, going from bachelor to master's, you can't change topics. You can't choose different study paths. So if I want to do like a master's in do they do a master's in communications? I don't know. We'll see. But if I wanted to change topics or fields, I couldn't do that actually. I have to stay with religion or theology. Yeah. So there's only one in Oslo, and I hope I will get in. I keep saying that.
I think there's no reason to think that you won't.
If I don't fail my thesis, right? Which there's no reason to think that I did. I will get in, hopefully. Yeah.
So that's exciting, man.
Yeah. So how do I feel? Is what you asked me? I feel pretty good.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to the future. Yeah.
I feel like I wanted to say something, but I don't remember what it was. That's really good. I'm just really proud of you guys, and it's definitely sort of like a level up in your life. Now you're college graduates. That's something, and we've talked about it. I don't need to talk about it a whole lot here, but I'm just really proud of you guys. I'm eager to see your continued studies. I'm glad that means you can stay in the country. That's positive.
Yes, that's a win.
Right, and then when you're done with your master's degree,
right,
you'll be in the same place that Alan was, which is okay. Shoot, how do I get to stay here now?
Yeah,
and Whitney and I, mercifully, we've been here on the basis of skilled work, which means that we have been accruing time to be able to apply as permanent residents. And when you hear students, that's not true. You've been here for 3 years, but you can't apply as a permanent resident because you haven't been accruing residence time as students. And then you're going to stay as students again, or you'll be a student and Marissa won't be. And I don't know all the details of that, but anyways, all of that is to say, in 2 more years or so, then we'll be at the same crossroads. Okay, God, what are you going to do now? What's the likelihood of Jacob and Marissa being able to stay?
Yeah.
I think it depends on probably just you guys getting skilled work in the meantime. If you can get skilled work and a full-time job that's ready for you. Yeah. Sorry, we don't need to solve that live and on the air.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. Well, there's a few options. We recently just found out that the requirements to be a skilled worker in Norway are actually, you no longer have to have a master's. Yeah. Now you can just have a bachelor's degree to qualify for a skilled worker's permit.
Yeah.
So that's a little, that's more lenient for us. I guess that definitely works out in our favor.
Yeah.
So now Marissa can not just work here or be here on theoretically be here on a family visa because she's married to a student, but she could theoretically go find a job and be hired as a skilled worker because she has a bachelor's degree. So that's interesting.
And that's kind of where Whitney and I are at. So it looks like our paperwork will be okay. Probably our paperwork will be fine, and they will grant us permanent residency. But then we also have to find jobs and be able to live and eat and feed our children.
Right, yeah.
And that's tough because that's another thing where everything has to sort of happen all at the same time. We are obligated to IMB, and with that, I say obligated to, but our contract or our assignment with them, it includes that we don't have outside work. And so we have to find work that will start at the same time that our IMB term is over. Without any overlap. And so that's a little bit difficult. And then for me, I guess I'm just realizing I don't know what I'm going to do. In the United States, I trained to be a pastor, and that was my vocation. And that just isn't what we're doing here. So, there's a church down the street that we love very much, and they're hiring a pastor at 50%. So in Norway, 100% means you're full-time.
50% is half-time, part-time.
50% means, and that percentage is how they calculate all of that stuff. So when you want a work permit, it has to be at least 80% employment. Anyways, we have a 50% position for a new pastor. And I considered it for a half a heartbeat. But I was like, that's not what we're doing. We're leading the church that we've just planted, not pastoring a different one. And that sort of realization was like, oh goodness, okay, well, what am I going to do? I've got lots of education, but it's not applicable to a whole lot of stuff, and my experiences as a pastor. And so anyways, just be praying for me about that. There's a lot I think that I could do. I'm definitely willing to do anything, but it does feel a little bit weird looking at like hourly unskilled jobs that have no education requirement.
Right.
No educational requirement. Sure. I can say that. And of course I'm willing to do them, but it feels like a little bit of a waste of my education and experience to, work in the bakery at the local grocery store or something.
Right.
Which I will do. Okay.
Or the coffee shop.
Or the coffee shop, or be a barista or whatever. That would be great. Like, the statistics about how many Starbucks baristas have 4-year college degrees.
Yeah.
And I'd be one with a 4-year degree and 2 masters.
That's right.
Really elevate that average, educate. Yeah. But I'll be a barista. That'd be fine.
Right.
But,
exactly.
but trying to find like what's a career and what can I do and all the stuff that I want to that is obvious is sort of obviously ministry stuff. But I'm really, sort of not obsessed isn't the word, but I'm really concentrating on or thinking about a job that's not in a Christian field in order for that to be how I meet meet Norwegians and evangelize and whatever, get sort of outside of the Christian vocational sphere. And I really like, but I don't know what I do. How many, how many jobs care that you have to, that you have a degree in theology?
Well, I mean, not very many, as I've started to learn. But I mean, it's interesting because, I mean, the only thing I can really think of would be like, I mean, just go teach at like some high school. Go teach philosophy or religion class at like some high school. Or
I think I would love to do that. I don't speak enough Norwegian yet. I could maybe get hired in an international school, but also I have no formal teaching experience, and it feels a little bit disrespectful to Whitney to be like, well, I have no options, so I'll just go and teach. I'll just do that thing you're an expert in and awesome at. I could just do that, right? I mean, like,
yes, yeah.
I obviously don't believe that. I love,
of course,
teaching people, but I've never been a teacher in that sense. And I don't know, considering it in those terms just feels weird. Like I'm disrespecting Whitney's career because she's so awesome.
Sure.
But she's talking to a few different schools right now that all seem to be interested in having her on the team and on board. And, that's, they'd be fools not to. But right. I'm really excited at the idea of her being able to teach again because she really loves it and she's really good at it, and it's so satisfying and rewarding for her. And so I think we look forward. There's a little bit of fear of the unknown. We don't know exactly what's going to happen, and we don't have it all figured out. But I think we can proceed with confidence and mostly with optimism about what the future is going to look like, and how we can do it without draining too much of our savings and getting jobs, and then like staying in the house we live in. Our lease is for a few more months, but our landlords don't think they're coming back till the spring. But we would love to live here forever if we could. So yeah, just more transitions.
Right. Yeah. It'll be nice in like 3 months to make another episode, similarly in content and in length, but instead turning all the maybes into yeses. So like, I haven't been accepted yet, and we don't have jobs yet. Yeah. We don't have our renewed permits yet, but that's our plan and intention going forward. Yeah. We're thinking about getting those things settled.
And then ministry stuff seems to be going really well too. So we've planted our little church, and our little. I didn't mean that to sound like like an insult. That's our little church, and we worship together in our home, and we make decisions together, and we think about the future is going to hold for us. And as a group, we're talking about what we should name it, and how we should spend our time, and what our calendar should look like. And we're really starting to, as an entire group, not just the Americans, showing up and making the decisions, but as a whole group taking sort of ownership of our missional community and starting to guide and lead and direct it together. And that's really wonderful to watch it just sort of begin. It's like, one of those time-lapse videos when someone plants a seed, and then you see like the little stalk and the little leaves shoot up just from the ground, and you're like, okay, you're not safe yet, and you're still a little tiny thing. But you're on your way. And that's kind of how I feel about us.
Yeah, me too. So I mean, lots of reasons to be excited, lots of reasons to be anxiously pursuing the future. We're just looking forward to seeing what God does, even in the midst of, kind of a huge thing that, wasn't very positive, last month, because now we're in June, my goodness. But last month, we took a big hit with Alan, not being able to stay. But, trying to be optimistic and realistic as we look forward. But I guess, one of the great positives is that, the church is started. Our Saturdays are growing. Saturday breakfast C's are growing. The ministry's doing well, and we all have pathways to stay. Yeah. So, I mean, the important thing is just keep praying for us. Please remember to send us a text and reach out to us from time to time. Yeah. Some people did that just last week, which was pretty great to celebrate me and Motown graduating and turning in our theses. So that was really, really encouraging and huge. So just remember to keep reaching out to us and praying for us, because we definitely need wisdom and guidance through uncertain times. Yeah. But it hasn't been the first time, and it's not going to be the last.
Right.
So we're confident we're going to get through this time.
It's discouraging when the team gets smaller, right?
Right.
So when the Fagans left, that was a huge blow. And how do we figure out life moving forward? Because our plans had always included them. And Alan, similarly, it's like, okay, well, our plans included him to, like, my emotional plans, my spiritual plans, my practical plans, the plans for the team. And so I don't mean to be crude, but it's like, I don't know, you're a baseball team, and you see that people just keep getting taken out of the game. You're like, oh my God, look, what do we do without a pitcher? I guess we all can like everyone on the field knows how to throw a ball, but like that guy's important. And we have no pitcher and no catcher. Okay, well, everyone on the field knows how to catch a ball, but what are we doing? And I know that seems silly, but everyone, we all have our specialties and our gifts, and it feels like, we're getting limbs lopped off, and it's hard to remain encouraged through that. So we're trying to trust the Lord. We know that He is more invested and interested in our success than we are, and so we're trying to understand His definition of success, His definition of the mission, and the work that He wants us to be doing, and then for us to do that with the utmost diligence and faithfulness. While, it seems like sort of taking casualties along the way.
So if you've got any words of encouragement for something like that, please go ahead and just reach out to us. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Word First Radio, and we'll see you again next week with, God willing, a special guest.
Ooh,
we'll see. All of our guests are special, so I can just invite anybody and they can come down.
We're finally going to have a special guest.
That's right. So we'll see you again next week. God bless.
Thank you for listening to Word First Radio. Be sure to like, subscribe, and check us out online at wordfirst.us. Yeah!